Hello, everyone. Today, we've got the pleasure of being joined by Maxwell Scully, the managing director and co-founder of Rothmore Property. Max, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very well, Harris. Yourself?
I'm doing absolutely amazing. It is a pleasure having you on. Really do appreciate it. How's the week going?
Yeah, really good. I was just saying, very busy. It's getting a lot of stuff done in a short space of time. Never feel like I have enough time in the day, but I much prefer to be busy than quiet, so I can't complain too much.
Absolutely. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And what are the some stuff you're looking forward to this year within the business? Is it growth? Is it, new investments? What is it sort of you're looking forward to within the year?
Yeah, so well, we're soon to launch a new division in the business.
Okay, great.
So that's been keeping me busy. So that should launch towards start of next month. It's the
Okay.
start of next month.
I think.
That essentially will be, as a business, we've always focused on new homes.
Yeah.
We work with property investors all across the world. So, uh, and doing that, we've now started working with the biggest developers across the country. And we've always had a lot of investors saying, "Do you do renovations?" I'm more into the house flipping market. I want to essentially find an older property, renovate it, and sell it on. It's always been something that I'd love to have done myself. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, this is something in the background. It's me and my business partner, Rupert. We've always loved the idea. And we started doing a couple. Rupert's done one himself. We've had one done previously, and I'm now doing one with my brother. I've got a family friend that's working on one with as well. Got investors now lining up to do more. So we've essentially put together a development team. We've got everything from plasters, joiners, the lot now. So that's kind of been keeping me busy, getting all that together. And essentially, we're launching kind of Rothmore construction, where all those investors that like the new build market, but want to diversify in their portfolio and take a hand in the renovation side of property investment. We want to be able to essentially kind of make that a turnkey service whereby you could be working at a very busy job where you'd love the idea of doing this. For instance, a good friend of mine, he's an oil broker in London. The man doesn't get 5 minutes. So there's no chance that he's going to be able to come to Manchester, do this, speak to plasters, put it all together, and then if something goes wrong, jump down there.
Yeah.
So for him, this is the type of model whereby if they want to get involved in that side of the market, they can do. We've got the team put together. We will source property for them. We will go through the conveyancing of that transaction, get that over the line, and then we will have our team come in, sort the project out, rip and ready at the site, and then either sell it or retain it, depending on the exit that the client wants.
And that sounds exciting. That sounds very exciting. I'm sure a lot of people are really excited for that.
Well, at the moment, it's just me and my business partner excited for it, and as no one else knows about it apart from this podcast, so you're getting
Amazing. A sneak
a
peek.
head in.
Amazing stuff. Perfect. That's great. Now, I guess, Mike, that brings us nicely on. If you can tell us a little bit about your background, where did the journey start? How did the fruit come to be? And what is your background, in your journey getting to the position you're in today?
Yeah, of course. I actually started it. I went to drama school, believe it or not. I was an aspiring thespian. I wanted to do that type of thing. I did a little short film with Tom Hardy where I had to beat him up. Weirdly,
Oh, wow.
he just did Warrior, which was a bit weird because I was like, "Are you sure this is the situation?" But yeah, it made sense in the storyline. And I went to drama school. That was what I wanted to do. I started making movies for myself and realized, do you know what? I actually don't enjoy what I was basically wrapped up more with the business element than I was in front of camera. And I enjoyed that more. So I started helping produce other friends' movies and adverts and things like that. And when I left school, I was at university. I was like, I don't know if that's the direction I want to go. So I basically started working at Marsh and Parsons, a little estate agency. I was not less at all, but a large estate agency in London. I kind of fell in love with the property industry. I did 3.5 years there. Went on from there to property investment. He loved what I did. I sold lots of properties in Manchester, Liverpool, and Birmingham from London. Really got a sense of the property market up here. And that was it. Once I kind of found that, that was where I wanted to be. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And after a number of years, I left the business. My business partner who actually was someone I met at Marsh and Parsons, who went off to do FX, but many years in property before that. We used to live together and we basically just put our heads together and was like, right, let's make this happen. Left London, went to stay at his parents' house, tried to keep costs as low as possible. We were selling from his ping pong table. So it was laptops open, working from the ping pong table, nine
dream
till
life.
1, and then 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock, lunch
Yeah.
and ping pong, and then
The dream life.
back to calling. Yeah, I mean, it was. It had its trials and tribulations. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't easy, but it was a great mission, and we loved starting that journey together. We had issues. It was hard getting off the ground. It was trying to get people on sides and getting developers on with no name was difficult, and then it just kind of snowballed. Things started happening. We kind of carried on going, didn't give up, persevered, and moved to Manchester, thinking, right, we're gonna be here now. This is what we're gonna do. COVID happened 2 weeks later. We were locked down and flat just me and him, and we continued to work through COVID. Because we were selling off-plan property, we could still do that. As it started getting the rules started getting a bit looser, and they were a bit more lenient on things. We would start doing viewings, which were quite funny at the time because like walking around in a hazmat suit,
In a hospital.
gloves. Exactly. Yeah, it was just the weirdest thing doing a viewing. But it was a great time for us. A lot of big businesses closed, and we carried on going. We had no choice, so we kept going, and actually that was a really good time for us as a business, and it really helped kind of catapult us. And then one thing led to another. The business grew. We brought on a number of staff who've been with us for a long time. We love his family, and that's where we're at today.
Amazing, amazing. And I guess, on the point of today, what does your day-to-day role look like at the company, right? Are you focused on company growth and expansion? Are you focused more on the team and morale? Or are you focused more on the client and success side of things? What does your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, to be honest, I think as a managing director and alongside my co-founder Rupert, I think all of those things you have to manage all of those things at any one time. My dad always sends me this funny picture, because he's run a business many years and very different industry, but run a business. And whenever I moan to him in the evening, there's too much going on. Sends me this picture of a man on a bike, balancing 50 different things on his hands and feet, whilst also keeping a smile on his face, trying to pretend everything's okay. You're doing 50 million things at once. And, if you want to eat, don't moan about what's on your plate, type of thing. So growth is always a really important thing. If you're standing still, you're dying, essentially. You always want to keep pushing on, finding the ways of kind of pushing the business forward. Morale and the people you work with is just as important. They are the backbone of the business. They're the face of the business as well. For us, the team is the most important thing. I always want to make sure they're happy. Obviously they're working hard, they're making money. That's important to them. Office environment's right. Whenever I'm hiring, I'm thinking about, are they going to fit in with the team? Are they going to, make that dynamic, make sure that dynamic continues the way it is, or they can benefit it.
Customer success and client success, is that a big part of your day to day, or is that perhaps somebody else, who takes care of that?
I think with that side of things, because I'm not speaking to clients on a day to day, I have my sales manager, Georgina, who's fantastic. She looks after my sales team. She makes sure that all the clients are happy in that respect. She kind of looks after that side of things. Obviously, I'm there beside her and stepping in and helping with that side of things. But I always think you've hired someone to do a role, trust them in that role. Don't get on top of them. They know what they're doing. You wouldn't have hired them for that reason. Do you know what I mean? So that's the important side of that. So client success, yes, I have a part of it. But at the end of the day, the people that are actually working with that client to make sure that that's a success, it's their success and their gratification that should come off the back of it, not mine. You know what I mean? They've
Yeah.
overcome any issues and problems and got them to the place which they wanted to get to.
I think that's great. I think that's great. I think a lot of people try to micromanage or get too involved, but I think sometimes you have to leave your team to perform. And, they might make a mistake, they might trip up, but that comes with learning and that comes through their journey of getting to that position. So I think that's important, a very fair balance.
100%. And look, at the end of the day, everyone makes mistakes. I know we're going into the AI robot era, but at the moment we're all humans. We all make mistakes. It's kind of how you overcome them. So I think that's the important thing, that they're on top of that. They're managing their clients. They know them best, so they deal with that things.
Amazing. That's great. Perfect. So, Matt, if we can come very nicely onto the next topic, which is industry trends. So, what major trends or shifts in the industry are you seeing at the moment within property investment, within even property construction, the new sector of the business? What are some trends and some shifts you're seeing? Is it going in a positive direction? Is it going in a negative direction? What are you seeing?
I think time will tell on the construction side of things, and the Labour government's obviously brought in all the new rules, and obviously backing the builders, not the blockers, as Simon says. We'll see about that. I mean, at the end of the day, the property industry has gone through a lot of changes over the number of years now, especially like I'm running Rothmore. They're the things that we can't really change. We're going to have to, there's always ways of pivoting and working around those. I think it's going to be really interesting what's to come with the rental reform bill, see how that can take shape. Obviously, we've had stamp duty increase as well. That's probably a little effect on the market. We definitely noticed that at the start of the year. I think now people are kind of getting back on with their initial plans. Optimistic about the future. I think we're in such a great country, such a great pool for investors. There's no real place like it. So I think the UK, for the property investment side of things, is in a fantastic place. And as long as it keeps going on that trend, then it will be very exciting. I mean, Manchester, where I'm based, huge amounts of new investment. It's, we've just had Enterprise City that's come forward. We work with Renica as well, who are doing huge amounts of new regeneration projects, like New Jackson Street. We've got Salboy doing massive projects around Cheaton Hill. Really exciting news about with Manchester Council focusing on the Strangeways regeneration. United Football Club as well, that's new 100,000 seater stadium, huge amounts of new jobs, massive new footfall of people going to come to the area. I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'm not biased on that.
Likewise, I'm a Chelsea fan.
Good choice. But to be honest, Man United is a fantastic club, huge history, and I'm really happy to see them have a new stadium. It's going to bring a huge amount of opportunity to that part of town. It will continue the growth of the city. So I personally believe that the trends we'll see going forwards will be very positive. I think there are some really interesting things that we have to see happen with, all these little changes that we're seeing with government and what happens there afterwards. But overall, I'm not optimistic about it.
Great stuff. That's great to hear that. And, in your experience, right, what are some of the main factors that contribute to a successful business within the industry? What would you rank as maybe the top two or three factors that actually contribute to success?
Customer service has to be number one. At the end of the day, we are a service business. So we've got to kind of go above and beyond for our clients, above everyone else. We're not a tech business where we are creating something unique in that respect. Many other agencies in our space, most of them will sell the same, if not similar products to us, similar developments to us. So what really makes us stand out? I feel the consultants really need to kind of go above and beyond with clients, make sure they can really guiding them through that process, answering every question as best that they can, and supporting them. I always say to the team, a lot of investors, this may be their first investment, but maybe their first time getting into the buy-to-let market.
Yeah.
And as a result, don't expect them to know everything in that space, so support them through that. You've been working with many people, it could be large investors, first-time buyers, everyone's going to be different. So understanding their needs and how you can support them through that and finding the right products is the most important thing. And that's the reason why they'll buy into you as a person, not another agency.
Amazing. No, that's great to hear. Great to hear. Now, Max, if we hone in more on, social media, social media being a massive trend at the minute, what is the importance of social media to your business and the industry? And what are some ways you're taking advantage of the massive scope of social media in today's age?
Yeah, I think with social media, we've done a lot of social media marketing in the past. Some for good and some for bad. I mean, I think it's one of these things where I believe that the kind of social media marketing was has changed over the years. I believe that now it's a lot about the organic marketing. People want to see a face behind the brand and get a bit more of a personal touch still. When I go on social media or YouTube or anything like that, it's going to get a bit of insight. I tend to be drawn to the ones where there was an actual person talking, bring a bit of the human elements behind it. And so I think that side of things is very important. The Americans tend to be a little bit further ahead than us. They've always seemed to be a bit more, open to doing that side of things. And you can see it's been very successful for them. I think we're seeing more of that now in the UK. There's obviously some people who've been doing it for years and have a massive following. So as a business, we're actually looking at that as well, looking to increase that side of things. So we're actually just about to do a webinar with Renica for Vista River Gardens. That's on the 23rd of April. It'll be the first time seeing inside the actual developments, and that will be with the kind of marketing team at Renica. So we're looking to do more of those side of things where we can do that through social media and other channels as well.
Amazing, amazing. Now, your goals, I guess, with social media, is it, for example, getting the brand out there? And is it publicity? Is it, for example, your current clients being able to see you and see yourselves on social media? Or is it actually to attract, new investors, new clients? What are your primary goals with social media? And how do you really utilize social media to its best?
I mean, I think that social media done right does all of those things. You'd like to think that social media can obviously try and sell your products on there, but I think the most important thing with social media is giving something back to people who are looking for that information. I think if you're doing that, you're building a bit more of authority in the space. And that will allow you to build your brand whilst also attracting more investors, because if they trust in you and trust that you know what you're talking about, ultimately, I know a reason like the customer service side of things, that they'll be more drawn to buying from you than they will be the next person. So I think it's done right, it should achieve both. It is quite time consuming, and it's one of those things that you always kind of put back and go, get to that later. I've got more important things to deal with. But it's finding a balance to doing both. And I must admit, I struggle to find that balance sometimes. But I think it is an important part of the business, and it is something that we are making more of a conscious effort to be a key part of the business and the marketing approach.
Amazing, very well said. And now, Max, if we can discuss and hone in more, I guess, on business. So, what are some strengths of the business and what's working really well? Obviously, you mentioned customer service. Perhaps you can give us another area of something that's going really well. And what are some areas of the business that perhaps are a bit challenging and you have some problems that you're looking to overcome?
Yeah, I think the other things that are going well in the business. I mean, sales and our partnerships with our developers are stronger than ever. I'm really proud of that. As I say, we're doing this webinar now with Renica. That's after many years of working together, building a very strong relationship, a strong understanding of one another. Similar thing with Soundboard, we've done one previously about a year or so ago. I think it's working with good people, finding the right people to work with, and working and building a stronger relationship with them. Not trying to work with everyone and anyone and thinking everyone's the same, because they're not. So that is going really well in that respect, kind of building the strong partnerships with our developers.
Some challenges or maybe some, areas which perhaps are some problems which you're looking to overcome?
Yes, where do I start? There's always challenges, but the challenge is, I think it's always going to be the lead traffic for these things. We have a really strong client base, and we generate a strong amount of leads, but it's also one of those things you always generate more. And that's one of those type of things whereby we've tried different marketing avenues that have worked very well and then hasn't worked so well in different products. So I think it's always a challenge to find the right way of getting services and developments out to market and to attract the right buyers for it. So that's something that me and the marketing team are constantly looking at to to overcome.
Good stuff. Amazing. And in terms of our big trend at the minute, and you obviously touched on, robots and things like that, is, AI. A big thing is AI, coming in and, perhaps taking a lot of the workload off, and actually helping businesses in some ways. So how is the trend of AI, going along for you? Is that something you're already implementing within the business? Is it something you implement down the road? And how do you see AI developing and helping the industry as well as the business?
Yeah, so we use AI for a number of different things. We have AI in our CRM system, which helps the business a lot in that capacity. We do automations within HubSpot as well. Obviously, a lot of people in the business use ChatGPT, but I don't think that's anything new there.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for ways of kind of implementing AI into the business. It's hard because there's obviously a number of different products out there. Some don't work as necessarily as well as they do. So that's always the challenge in that respect. So we'd love to kind of use more of that. I think it's one of these things. It's using more AI and technologies to make your life easier, but then there's also the balance of not losing that kind of human element. The other day I was called by an AI, salesperson.
Yeah.
Immediately I knew it was an AI sales call because it just didn't quite understand what I was saying. And it took a while, and then it got the questions wrong. It was slightly bit off, and I thought, if that was my business and I was applying on the other end of that, I wouldn't think that highly of that business. I don't think that technology is quite there yet. I mean, I've seen that there's this thing at the moment that the Portuguese company was using it and surpassed 100 million in property sales. Maybe I'm a bit skeptical right now, but I think it's one of these things when it gets to that point and it can do those things without losing that kind of human element and like customer service. Then I would love to implement that, but I think that's the most important part of it.
Makes sense. I think it's great speaking to a robot when you need to book a dentist appointment or maybe book a hotel reservation. But when you're looking to spend upwards of maybe 100K to a million or even more, you'd want maybe someone who maybe speaks, the same tone and the same sort of, because a lot of the time there's emotion behind conversation. When you're speaking to investors, speaking to clients, or even speaking to someone from the business, emotion. And I think that's something, AI really lacks, because you can pick up on emotion and you can understand certain trigger points and be able to, benefit from that. But I think AI sort of loses that. But I think it's also important to benefit it in terms of productivity, so it's all about finding that strong balance.
Completely. I don't think it should replace you. I mean, maybe down the line it will do, but it won't replace us. But I think it's one of these things that it should make
Support.
your life easier, support you, increase operations, all those tasks where human errors do occur, and you can make that streamline that process and make sure those mistakes don't happen. And there's kind of typical things where maybe people are just busy and miss that little bits and bobs. I think that's where it's really important. It's doing amazing things at the moment. I'm very excited about how AI can make my business better. So I'm always looking at that. But it's, as I say, it's finding the right product to work for business and not sacrificing key things.
Amazing. Very well said. Now, Max, if we can touch on future goals, what does the next 6 to 12 months look like for yourself in the business? What are some goals that are on your bucket list to be hitting? And what does the future look like for the company?
Yeah, well, I mean, the renovation side of things is a massive goal for us that we want to kind of get off the ground in the next 6 to 12 months. We'd like to push more into the development space as well. So we've been selling obviously a number of big developers products for many, many years. We'd like to bring our own to market as well. A personal goal of mine that I would love to achieve, but maybe a little bit down the line. And overall goals, we'd love to be back at the International Property Awards this year coming, so that's definitely in the eye line. I think it's growing the business organically, making sure we are pushing forward some key fundamentals whilst we go along.
Amazing. That's great. And Mac, if you could solve one major problem within the business or the industry, what would that be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. One key problem at the moment. I mean, I think there's a number of issues at the moment when it comes to mortgages and buildings and things like that. it's quite difficult for clients sometimes to go halfway down the process and can hit a little bit of roadblock with things that they may have not foreseen. If the conveyancing process could be more streamlined, then I think that would be a real benefit to the industry. What else potentially? It's hard to say. I don't really like to think of things like that. I like to think, how to
Overcome.
how to deal with the problems, deal with what's in front of me, rather than seeing how to change them.
And I guess if we could wrap up with your biggest piece of advice that you've learned the hard way, or something you wish you knew when you started your journey.
But you can't do everything and trust the people that you hire.
Okay.
I think it's one of these things that when I was starting the business up, I wanted to be involved in every element, every single part of the business. I was overstretching myself, and actually I was causing more damage to the business by trying to be involved in every element rather than trusting the people that I hired to do those roles. Georgina, Ainsley, all the people that I have on the team, Izzy's in marketing. I may come with an idea and say, look, we need to do this, let's do this. And she'll challenge me and say, okay, I love the idea, but let's do it this way. I trust her judgment on that because she knows what she's doing in marketing. She knows how to get to the end goal. She knows all the steps that needed to get there. So she'll be able to lay that roadmap out for me and say, this is a pitfall that we might have to consider. And trusting their judgment with that in supporting so that we can both reach that ultimate goal together for the business rather than trying to do it myself and then kind of passing it over and trying to do all the little bits and bobs when actually if I believe in it, if I looked after if I let the person deal with that all the way through while supporting them, they would be able to get to that goal much more efficiently. And it would also allow me to do more things at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. Well, Max, thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate it. And thank you for joining us. I'm sure everyone has really found a lot of value and really appreciated learning more about the business and some of the stuff about, the industry. And I guess thank you to everyone who has tuned in. And hopefully they have enjoyed it. Anything, Max, you would like to close off with?
No, thanks very much for having me on the podcast.